In this lesson, we are going to create the take damage and the heal functions. So both these are going to be void functions. So I'm going to go ahead and create the take damage function. And what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to basically transition our desk screen color from the start color towards the end color in this function. And if it's transitioned all the way to the end color, then we need to set our dead variable equal to true. So to start off, what we're going to need to do is make a new variable, and this one can be private, and it's going to be called fraction to end color. It's going to be a float called fraction to end color. And we're going to use this in a function called lerp. It's going to be, well, we'll get to that here in a second, but we need to make basically a fraction between 0 and 1 that we're going to use to say how close should we make our desk screen color between these two colors, between our start color and our end color. So where is it falling between these two? So if it's at 1, then it's all the way at the end color. If it's at 0, it's all the way at the start color. So that's why we make this value right here, this variable. And we need to transition that value. So here we're going to basically set that value. So fraction to end color is going to be set equal to, and for the take damage, we want to use the math.min function, because what this is going to do is it's going to return the smallest of two values. And because we are transitioning to 1, and so it means we're increasing our value little by little by little till it gets up to 1. We don't want to go past 1 though, so that's why I'm using this. So the second value is going to just be 1, and this other value is going to be basically an increased value of the current fraction to end color. So let's go ahead and put in the first argument for here. You see int a, the first argument. It's going to be just fraction to end color plus, and we need basically a speed in which to move this towards that. So we need to make a new variable. We make this one. Let's make it private. We'll just assign it in here. And it's going to be a float called speed. And let's go ahead and set it equal to, I don't know, maybe 0.08. Put f float. There we go. So we got that set. Now, let's go right down here. So it's going to be plus the speed, and we'll times that by time dot delta time. And what that is, basically, it's the time from the previous frame to this frame. It's basically just something we can add in here for this calculation to make sure that if the frame rate changes, the rate of the becoming dead does not change. It'll still go at the same rate. So that's all that's doing there. It's just making sure that this is frame rate independent. It will happen the same amount of time no matter what the frame rate is. Because remember that if I put this function, which I might as well go ahead and do now, the manage update function in our update, the update function gets called every frame. So we need to put this in here to make sure that changes in the frame rate don't affect the change in the speed to get this transition taken care of. So, okay, now that we got that all figured out, I'm going to go ahead and put in the second argument here, so comma and 1. So it's going to choose the minimum between 1 and whatever this returns here. And now that we have that calculated, we can go ahead and set our desk screen color. So desk screen dot color, and we're going to set this equal to, and now is where we're going to use that lerp function I brought up earlier. We're going to use the color class, and we're going to use the lerp function within that to lerp between two colors. And so it's going to be between our start color and our end color. And it's going to be, the third value is basically the fraction between here and here it is. So that's going to be, of course, our fraction to end color. And going to close that out. And then we need to also check to see if the fraction to end color is equivalent to 1, because we shouldn't get anything above 1 because we're using this min function here. Equivalent to 1, then we need to go ahead and set dead equal to true. Okay, so we have our take damage function. We also need a heal function, so let's go ahead and make that. So void heal. And here, what we can do is we're going to basically do a very similar thing. So I'm actually going to copy these two lines. So we're just doing this in the opposite direction. So paste them down here, and instead of adding for when we're changing our fraction to end color, we're going to subtract. And we're going to, instead of using the min function, we're going to use the max function, which is going to turn the max between two values. And we're going to set the second value here to 0. So the lowest this is going to return is going to be 0, but it's going to continue decreasing until it reaches that. Okay, so now we can also, let's see, this line here is actually fine. It's the same thing as up here. We need to go ahead and call these functions, though, in our manage health function up here. So I'm going to go ahead and add the take damage function, as well as our heal function. And one last thing is, well, let's go ahead and test this out and see what happens. Let that compile. And we need to also go ahead and assign some things. So let's go do that as well. I'm going to select our FPS controller, and we're going to go down to this, and we need to, of course, assign our death screen. So that's going to be in the canvas. We're going to go ahead and drag and drop this on here, and we're going to choose our colors. So for both these colors, it's going to be sort of a little bit off red, like almost all the way saturated red, but a little bit darker, a little bit desaturated. And I'm going to choose a similar color for this. Only this one, for the color we're LORPing to, our end color, I'm going to make it more opaque. So something like that is fine. So just increasing the alpha. And now, let's see. I think we have what we need to test this out. So let's give it a shot. I'm going to go find the enemy here. Let's see. Looks like it's just over there. Come on, look this way. Yep, and it looks like that it did do a transition. So very cool. We got that taken care of. Let's go ahead and add in a little something else. Let's add in what's going to happen when the player's dead. What's going to happen in that situation? Well, we of course we've been fading to red, but I think what we can do is we could have the just have the screen go black once the character's all the way dead. So I'm going to go ahead and put in an else here. So this is going to be if the player's dead. And what's going to happen is we are going to set the death screen dot color to be equal to, I'm just going to use a preset color dot black. It's a preset in the color class. And we're also going to go ahead and we're going to need to make a new variable up here actually. It's going to be a public one. And it's going to hold our end game text. So we're going to call this it's going to be first of all, it's going to be a game object. We're going to hold our end game text. So I'm going to call it that. And we're going to set the set active for that to true. So end game text dot set active equal to true. And then one final thing we're going to do in here is we are going to basically just sort of stop the game time. So I'm going to access the time scale and set that equal to 0. So normally time is running at a rate of 1. It's going forward at, I guess that's sort of the normal rate. But if you set to 0, then it's basically like freezing everything. So that'll be a good way of sort of just stopping the game for the most part. So we got that. Let's go ahead and save it and just test that out and make sure that we can indeed be killed in this. So once that finishes compiling, oh, we need to make sure we also assign our the text. So let's go ahead and do that. That's right here, this text. Drag it into the in-game text slot and play it. Let's go find our enemy here. And game over. Sweet. Okay, we got that taken care of. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.